do it this time. We try to figure out who's going to do the intro. But Dennis, we didn't coordinate the intro. So welcome to all. Thanks for tuning into this live edition of the SMT podcast. I am the SMT, and I have with me Dennis BP3. What up, brah?
Not too much. Just happy to be on.
You're the best, man. Thanks for coming by and discussing topics with me tonight. We are going to discuss Verizon fixed wireless access. They are bringing the free version of the home internet program to the fixed wireless side of the house. You know, they do that on the FiOS side, Dennis, right?
What are they bringing in? I'm sorry?
Free home internet program. They do it through what used to be the BBB and now is the ACP.
Okay, yeah. It's not really free. It's more like the government's paying up to
It's
30.
subsidized, right?
Yeah.
So it's free to them.
Well, well, listen. When you say free, it makes me think of something like Comcast Internet Essentials, which also isn't free, but it's literally $10. And
so they don't subsidize the full amount.
No. So Internet Essentials exist because of whenever Comcast acquired NBC Universal as part of the acquisition terms, and then Comcast kept it around. And that was something that Comcast specifically offered to low-income households for $10 a month. Then with the ACP credit, it became free because the ACP credit covers up to $30. But it's not like when you were saying free, I thought you literally meant free. Because that's something Comcast and other ISPs were doing specifically at the height of the pandemic even. They were actually giving away free internet service for X amount of months.
So they were basically looking like Nino Brown from New Jack City giving out turkeys on Thanksgiving to all the drug addicts.
I don't know the reference, but sure.
Hey, everybody who has seen New Jack City, let me know in the live chat if you have seen the movie. Come on, Dennis. Everybody's seen New Jack City, dog.
I mean, that's like me saying everybody's played Overwatch, and Sneed, I know you never played Overwatch.
I've played Underdog.
One of the worst games to ever come out, but continue.
But it was a great cartoon back in like the 1950s, Dennis.
Oh, wait, we're talking about a cartoon? I thought you were talking about the game that was buggy from Ubisoft.
Well, yeah, I mean, it morphs into these new titles and stuff, but the original is a cartoon from like the 50s or something, dog.
Sorry, man. I guess I'm just not with it, man.
Look, bro, Oceanic Vibes even bringing it, bro. Come on, man. New Jack City, classic. Nino Brown, baby. Come on, man.
Well, you've gotten us off topic. Why don't you start off with getting us on the first topic of the night?
See, Dennis, why you always got to... I'm trying to have some fun, bro, and you're trying to reel it in. All right, fine, man. Be the voice of reason. All right, let me do the screen share thing so everybody knows as they, like, come into the show exactly what it is we're talking about. Okay, so the first one we'll do, I think, is the Verizon story about the free home internet program. Okay, here we go, folks. You guys can find this article written by Sue Merrick, Fierce Telecom. Verizon adds fixed wireless access to the free home internet program. Okay, so the qualifying mobile plan and auto pay at $50 a month for its 5G home fixed wireless access service, $70 per month for those without a mobile plan. They are going to throw this into the Verizon Forward program. Any combination of their fixed wireless access, which could be the 5G home and or the LTE home. All right, so Dennis, we're pretty familiar with the fixed wireless service, right? The 5G home, they do it over C-band, they do it over mmWave. The LTE version, it's over LTE channels, so it's a little bit skimpier in terms of available throughput. The capacity, obviously, much lesser on the LTE side, unless you got access to like CBRS, probably. The LTE side, I think they guarantee...
Sneed, it's not guaranteed. It's capped at 50 by 3, I believe.
Okay, so that's like the top end, right? The ceiling is 50 years. I think it does more, Dennis.
Nope, not on the LTE. If you get the LTE-based fixed wireless
you're getting
internet,
50?
you're capped at 50.
Okay, what are you getting for uplink? 3?
3.
No more than 3?
Correct.
Are you sure about this?
Pretty positive.
Okay.
I'm 100% positive on the download, and I believe it's 3 on the upload. Okay. I'll have to pull up the website.
All right, so folks, I think Dennis is right, but if you want to double check on that on your own accord, by all means do that. They are going to take the 5G and LTE fixed wireless access options and take them over to the Affordable Connectivity Act, with access to free home internet without data caps or equipment fees. I think the good thing about this is the fact that they're doing it at a $50 or $70 value, as opposed to previously, I think with like all this ACP and BBB stuff, it was always whatever internet plan was valued at like $30, right? So if you bought a plan that was more expensive, you would have to pay the difference. So the plans themselves are $50 a month or $70 a month, depending on whether or not you have like, the fixed wireless plus the mobile side. It's a pretty good deal. I mean, I don't see how this is a bad thing. All right, Verizon bringing it to this side of the house. The offer is to both sides, LTE and 5G. In the recent times, fixed wireless subs for Verizon, they added 168,000 net adds in the consumer segment, 88,000 net adds in the business segment. And Dennis, you think this is going to help their numbers moving forward? Maybe not Q3, but it might show itself in Q4.
No.
Look,
so I think first off, a lot to unpack here. First, I just want to say clearly, I think it's awesome that Verizon is added the fixed wireless side to the ACP program because it helps address one of the big 4 issues that I've talked about when it comes to internet connectivity, which is affordability, right? So awesome that it got added and is getting treated like the rest of Verizon's internet solutions. As far as addressing customer numbers, though, customers don't switch internet providers because of ACP. They look at lower pricing in general, like, i.e., you don't see ISPs marketing ACP pricing unless you go to a very specific like web URLs, right? Because not everyone can qualify for it. This is more of like a cherry on top, like, oh, did you know that if you do qualify for SNAP, Social Security, whatever the other things are to make you eligible for ACP, we can get you this credit on this program to help you out a little more. And I guarantee you, too, by the way, that most companies, especially if you're talking to like a salesperson, probably isn't mentioning that right off the rip because they're going to want to sell you on whatever the more expensive stuff is.
Yeah, but if a person qualifies for it, I mean, they're just going to look at the value. It says here the ACP provides qualifying households $30 a month discount on their broadband, $75 per month for those residing on tribal lands, and a one-time discount up to $100 on the purchase of a laptop, desktop computer, or tablet. So, like, I was thinking maybe they see, like, maybe a 10% boost because now instead of them thinking, oh, I can only get my internet from one company because they're the only ones that are honoring the ACP or participating in the ACP. Now with Verizon participating on the fixed wireless side, I think that gives them maybe a 10% boost to their quarterly ads.
Why would you switch from free to free?
Because the other version of free might suck.
My point
like,
is
like I'm saying, like the incumbent might be a trash operator. Like you know what I'm saying? Like the actual internet experience might be poor.
Right, but I'm saying like we both agree that the biggest reason that people switch is for price. Like we both agree on that, right?
Yeah, I know, but this I'm not looking at this as traditional switching. I'm looking this as a customer is fed up with a poor operator, not pricing. If it was pricing, Dennis, then I expect switcher pools to be much larger. I'm not looking at this as more than maybe a 10% boost for Verizon's net adds in their fixed wireless because now they become more viable and more of a player for business from people from other companies.
Gotcha. Also, 2 quick things I wanted to add, by the way. I just want to confirm for the LTE, it's Verizon says up to 50 meg max for the download, and it's up to 4 on the upload. I was off by 1 meg.
Yeah, you did pretty good, Dennis. Big ups to you, man. There's so much to remember in all these offers, man. It's not easy.
But yeah, no. But your question was, will this boost their subscriber count? And I just don't see why this specific thing would boost their subscriber count. Is what I'm trying to get at. Like, there would
so
have
then
to
why
be
would they do it then?
I think it's because, excuse me. I think it's because it's free government money. Why wouldn't you do it? If you have someone that, if you have, so it's 2 parts: free government money, but also good guy Verizon look, right? Like, you don't want to be the, I can't think of another word for it, the dick that's not participating in trying to help solve the internet connectivity program. Like, it's a
T-Mobile
major issue in
doesn't.
the US.
T-Mobile postpaid doesn't.
Yeah, and they're a dick. You don't hear anybody saying like, "Oh,
AT&T does, and so does Verizon now."
My point exactly. And when Comcast did it, it was great marketing, dude. You should have saw the local newspapers all over the place.
Oh, they were eating it up.
Oh yeah, dude. Over here in Pittsburgh during the height of the pandemic, Comcast was going around with their like marketing, giving out like Comcast was doing a bunch of stuff, man. They were giving out like free masks and stuff, and they were giving out like hand sanitizer at schools and stuff with like a little Xfinity branding. But dude, the newspapers were eating it up. They're like, yeah, Comcast unleashed all these Xfinity hotspots. They're being first to participate in the ACP program and the commitment to not shut people off. Bro, it was free marketing. It was free marketing for these companies. Listen, these companies don't do things out of the goodness of their hearts. They do it because they want to make money, and this is guaranteed money. Now you don't got to worry about someone not paying the bill because the government's the one that's fronting it for as long as the funds are open.
Yeah, big true. And I mean, the ACP is the new structured program. Remember, the BBB was for like a few years, and then they restructured it, renamed it, rebranded it, and this is what we have today. So T-Mobile doesn't offer it.
Oh, sorry.
I was gonna say T-Mobile doesn't offer this for their for the ACP for their T-Mobile postpaid home internet. Do they offer it for Metro? Maybe.
I couldn't speak. I honestly wasn't even aware that T-Mobile home internet wasn't eligible. To be honest, I couldn't speak. But I was just gonna comment on Oceanic Vibes. Oceanic Vibes, just so you know, this is their special like $29.99 plan. It's not a promo for people that get Internet Essentials, like Internet Essentials Plus or something. But yeah, it works out to being free because the ACP credit covers up to $30. So you can get 100 meg from Comcast for $30 or for free, excuse me, 100 by 10 guaranteed. Or if you're okay with a promo, because you could also use it on promos, you could just do the $30 promo and get 300 by 10 for free as well. But anyway, sorry, just wanted to address that comment.
Yeah, it's all good, man. All right, quick little story, quick little hitter from Verizon. Not really too much else to cover from it. We'll see if T-Mobile gets back in and gets involved. I'm not sure why they pulled and why they withdrew. I remember they were supporting it for a while. I'm not sure why they pulled it, man. What's up, David? Good to see you, man. I see Lawrence, Oceanic Vibes, Trex, TJ, Bryant. Welcome to the show. All right, let's do the next topic here, and then we're going to kind of start freelancing. Dennis, I know there's a couple of things you wanted to talk about, so we'll do that. This next one is some Pixel stuff. I like the Pixels, Dennis. You don't.
I mean, I was an Nexus 6P owner.
Yeah, I know, but that was like 5 years ago.
Yeah.
Right? I mean, at least 5 years. No, it's been more. Right? We've had 7 generations of Pixels. So
like 2013?
Yeah, man. So basically a decade ago, Dennis. It's been 10 launches since then. By the way, great phone. It was a great phone. If it wasn't for that chipset, dude, like with the heating issue, I mean, who knows what type of a legacy it would have left behind.
I mean, it was the only Huawei phone. That's a legacy.
Mm-hmm. Fact.
But anyway, go ahead and what's up with this article?
Google's Pixel 7 pricing challenge. Carriers offer iPhones and Galaxy phones for free. So, Dennis, here is the reason why nobody buys Pixels. Because the other phones that they compete against, people can get for free. So if you have your choice between a free Pixel or a free iPhone or a free Galaxy, you're not taking the free Pixel. You're taking the free iPhone or the free Galaxy. Right?
Right, and most times the Pixel isn't even free.
No, they're free.
I said most times.
AT&T's got them free. Verizon's got them free. T-Mobile's
for right now.
Oh, so you're saying promo period?
Yeah. Most times the Pixel isn't an all year round free phone. There's always promos on iPhone. There's always promos on Samsung. There's not always promos on Pixel. And the only ones that typically do Pixels on aggressive promos on the Pixel are Verizon.
Google's new Pixel 7 and Pixel 7 Pro promise to be impressive phones that could rival Apple's iPhone 14 and Samsung's Galaxy S22. While the software and camera features are noteworthy, Google made a particular point to emphasize during Thursday's Pixel event that its phones will be cheaper than its rivals during its fall product launch event. Pixel 7, $599. The 7 Pro, $899. Dennis, how do you feel about the pricing, sir?
I feel I feel like that $300 difference between the regular 7 to the 7 Pro is a little bit steep for most people when it comes to upselling, but I also feel like Blind Tech Adventures is just dropping a nuclear bomb on the show tonight saying, "Happy Friday. Thank you for another cast and all you do." Thank you, Blind Tech.
Blind Tech Adventures with the Big Boss Super Chat donation. The Hundo Spot. Happy Friday. Thank you for another cast and all you do. No, man, thank you. Thanks for supporting us. Thanks for essentially, just single-handedly supporting us through all these streams. The Super Chat donos that you've given us, man, is just so generous. You are amazingly generous, Blind Tech Adventures. Thank you again, bro. Wow.
Sneed, we need to get you a
like a noise board.
the overlay like we're doing on my show, man. Like with did you see our most recent show with the custom speedometers for speed
No,
test?
man, I can't. I want to check that out. That sounds pretty sweet.
We got some custom ones. They're really sick. They get different depending on value. We need something like that for you, man, because $100 should be like dropping literal like money bags all over the screen or something. Like,
yeah,
that'd be cool. But anyway, sorry, got sidetracked. Back to what you were asking about pricing.
Yeah, so the 7 coming in at the I guess we'll call it the base flagship $599, and then the Pro flagship $899.
I wouldn't call the Pixel 7 a flagship. I would call it this like. I don't know what this new category should be called.
Is it a tweener?
Like, yeah, like, you know how like
Premium
Samsung's been doing like the
something?
Founders Edition phones or the FE?
Oh, the fan edition, right?
Yeah, like I like it's sort of like a high end phone, but it's not a flagship, right? Like it's premium, but it's not a flagship, but it's also not a mid ranger. It's like somewhere in between. That's what the Pixel 7 represents, and I think it's a fair price for what it is. The issue is the 7 Pro. I don't think that's going to do too hot at that price point because it's way more of a difference in cost, like for an upsell, right? Like $100, people are like, oh yeah, $100 and for a penny and for a pound. A $300 jump though is a little bit aggressive for most, and we're talking about a price point now where you are competing against more true flagships. Like I said, you're within that $100 territory, right? Why would you get the 7 Pro if I can get the iPhone 14 Plus that just came out? Right? Why would I get a 7 Pro if I can get the Galaxy S22 Plus?
Your process on that, like, I want to backtrack a bit. So you said $599 to $899 seems like a very sharp discrepancy, right? So you're saying basically if it was $799, that would be a little bit more palpable?
I'm saying like I think it would have looked better, and they probably could have did more with it if they made the Pixel 7 like say $699 and then the 7 Pro $799. $100.
Wait a minute. You want the entry level one to get more expensive?
Hear me out on it.
Okay. All right. Okay.
If they have an extra $100, right, that means there's an extra $100 for them to add more stuff to the 7, right? It'll be a better phone in theory. Whether that be a higher base storage, more RAM, whatever it is, it's $100 more to play with.
Yeah, it's true. The RAM is different. True. Okay.
The screen's different too. Maybe they get the 120 hertz on the 7 because it's only a 90 hertz, right? I'm just saying, like,
maybe it's one or the other. Okay.
No, I know it is, but
Okay.
I'm saying, like, I would rather the 7, since this is supposed to be their flagship lineup and they're going to come out with like whatever the A is later. I'd rather the 7 be like $699 so they can put better stuff in it, and the 7 Pro only be like $100 more if you want the bigger screen with the slightly better stuff. You get what I'm saying? I think
okay, so I get your premise. I just don't want to see that entry level one coming up. I would prefer to see the Pro come down. I don't think there's going to be a problem for the 7 selling. I think the trouble is going to be the Pro selling, knowing that there's $300 between the 7 and the 7 Pro, and maybe the Pro doesn't warrant the $300 premium. Right? So I'm going to take half of what you're saying, but I'm going to leave the 7 at the current price and just leave it the way it is in terms of features. I just would like to see the Pro come down because to me, I think the Pixel 7 is like the best value in the game, right? For basically a flagship. Basically. Okay, it might be missing something or one or two things, but the Pro, like I don't think there's much value in the Pro. I think that one is priced properly. I think that the iPhone Pros are overpriced. I think that the Galaxy S22, what does it come in at, Dennis? 800?
A Galaxy S22, I believe, comes at
I know the Ultra is like 1200. So if let's say that the S22 comes in at 800, that's where I think the Pro needs to come in at. It needs to be like, because I mean, what's a better phone, Dennis? The Samsung S22 at 800 or the Pixel 7 Pro at 899?
the Galaxy S22.
So you're paying $100 less, but you're still getting more phone, maybe?
Yeah, and
See,
better
that's kind
software.
of right. That's kind of where I'm at. I'm like, well, you can make an argument that the S22 is a better phone. So, and it's coming in $100 cheaper. It's obviously got a smaller battery and a smaller display, but if I go up to the S22 Plus,
Also, S22 is $750.
and what's the Plus model, the bigger one?
The Plus
$100 more?
is $899. So the Galaxy
so-
S22 Plus is $899.
So if we pin the S22 Plus and the 7 Pro, we got them at about the same size, same price. You feel better recommending the Galaxy.
Oh, all day.
Yeah, exactly. So, I think for Google to make a difference with the Pro, it probably had to come in at $799. The $599 price tag for the 7 is all day the best value in the game. Those lifestyle features, the camera, the battery size is good, the display is nice. I'm all for it. Let's get to these super chats real quick, though, Dennis. You want
Sure.
to do the first one, please? It is a monster. It is from Santiago the homie.
He says, I second that. Great show as always. Coming in with a $50 super dono. And then
Man,
a follow-up coming in from Jerry Shaw saying, excellent channel, one of the best, with the $20 dono.
Man, you guys are great. Thank you for supporting us. Thanks for all these super chats, man. It's amazing. Good support, man, from the people. Apple sells the iPhone 14 at $800. 14 Pro Max comes in at $1,100. I personally feel, though, Dennis, the conversation can kind of be moot because Apple users buy Apple, Galaxy users buy Galaxies, and Google users are like 1 out of 100, right? It's the minority market shareholder.
Yeah, but like I guess it begs the question of why. Why does Google's phones not sell, right? And the short answer is it's not just pricing, right? Because like if we think back, I know we're running the clock a decade, as you put it, but the Nexus line, right? Nexus line was known as like flagship phones for like really cheap prices, right? You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
Like the Nexus were historically low priced, and they didn't really sell all that well. Pixels came out.
Well, there's no presence, right, Dennis? Like nobody knows.
Right, but
about the phones.
Pixels came out. Marketing got much better for them, right? And yet they still don't sell. Why? And the short answer, in my opinion, is that Google's not nailing the hardware or the software integrations. Like, I don't even know how many iterations we're in at this point. Well, I do. We're 7 iterations in with the Pixel lineup, right? And I would argue that the software experience on a Pixel is worse than the current software experience on a Samsung Galaxy S22 flagship series phone. I would make that argument. And I would definitely make the argument that the integration is worse than Apple's ecosystem.
The Google ecosystem is worse than the Apple ecosystem?
I would argue so. I would argue that the Pixel's software integration is worse than a current day Galaxy S22 flagship phone, and it's definitely worse than iPhone's integration on their own platform.
Okay. So I think it's probably more this. According to Roger Etner, Recon Analytics founder, friend of the show, friend of the channel, 75% of people in the U.S. upgrade to a new phone during the June through September period did so with financing on an installment plan. That means they bought from their carrier, and the carriers offer the free phones, right? You trade in your old one, you get the new one. People trade in their Galaxies and they get Galaxies. People trade in their iPhone and they get iPhones. Nobody really has a Pixel. And the carriers, because of this, don't push Pixels because the Pixels don't move. I don't blame them. I'm not going to assign blame to the carrier, but the consumer is upgrading through carriers, and the consumer is already using Galaxy and iPhone. Dennis, I think the problem is Google doesn't have an opportunity to kick down a door unless their phones are leaps and bounds better than Galaxies and iPhones. Who's going to buy one? Clearly, people are satisfied and content with their Galaxies and their iPhones, and they're just going to get the next, right? So if they had an S10 Plus, they bought the S22. If they had an S20, they bought the S22. You know what I'm saying? Like they buy more of the same. Humans are creatures of habit, and they like what they know. You know, so I literally feel like it's just Google can't break through, man.
I'm going to disagree with you on that point, though, because there have been opportunities for Google to break down doors. Google had an opportunity when iPhone pulled away the headphone jack. That made plenty of Apple people upset, and there were legitimately Apple consumers that switched to Android for a headphone jack. Samsung capitalized on the marketing back then for that.
When did people leave iPhone because of a headphone jack?
Dude, it happened. They either didn't upgrade for years. That's why you still had people that were rocking 6Ss to this day.
Yeah, but if you don't upgrade, then you're not going anywhere else, so you're not losing market share. Somebody's still in the iPhone.
Or if they did, there was a portion of people that switched over to Samsung because they capitalized on the marketing, bro.
Yeah, but look at the market share. That didn't happen. If you look at the market share percentage after the iPhone 6S, or was it the 7, Dennis? Got rid of the...
7 got rid of the headphone.
7 got rid of the headphone jack. So if you look at market share from the 7 on, there's no changes. They didn't lose market share to any Androids.
Okay, but
I mean, anyway. Yeah, there were disgruntled people. That's facts. That's 100% fact. You're right. But nobody left. They were angry, but they didn't leave. Because Apple has people hooked.
I mean, it was enough for Apple, as Brad pointed out, to make the original iPhone SE. It was enough. It was enough.
But I understand, but that was a response. They ended up holding their market share. And nobody really has SEs, man. That market share is small. They discontinued small phones.
But, okay, even if you disagree with me on that event, there's other events that have occurred where Google could have started getting a leg up. There was the downfall of LG, right? Uh-huh. They could have filled that hole. Mm-hmm. There's no reason why they couldn't have filled that hole.
What did they have for market share at their peak? 7% in their heyday? So I give them at least that as a ceiling, maybe?
I'm not sure what the percentage is off the top. I'd have to research it, but that sounds roughly...
In their peak. So I would say, like, in their doldrums, 1 to 3%.
Even if it was 2%, Sneed. Google's still sitting at less than 1%. Is the point?
They're still less than 1%?
Yes.
Oh, that's rough.
They're not even a full percentage point. That's my point. Like, that's definitely an opportunity, and the same thing could have been said about HTC's downfall too. Or Nokia, or Windows Phone downfall on Nokia. Like, a lot of those Windows Phone users definitely went to Android. There was a good portion of them that went to... Like, I'm saying there has been plenty of events, okay, where Google could have had an opportunity to grow, and they still haven't even made it past the 1% mark in the U.S.
Their marketing is good. I see their commercials all the time. I think their phones are good. I think their phones have definitely had setbacks. Like the launch of the 6 Pro, with the phone being very, very unfinished and unpolished. That was setbacks. I mean, that turned a lot of people off, don't you think, Dennis? Like, people returned the phones. They're like, okay, this thing gets too hot, or the cellular modem on this is not performing well, so they just returned it. That hurts, man.
Hey, Sneeze, speaking of things that hurt, you want to know what else hurts?
What hurts, man?
The fact that OnePlus has a higher market share than Google Pixel. And that
what's the numbers?
It ranges between 1% and 3% depending on quarter. Like this most recent quarter of Q2 2022, they were 1%. Mm-hmm. Q1 they were 2%. Q4 they were 2%. Q3 they were 3%. So they lost people.
So guess what phone is doing that for OnePlus?
Their budget phones.
Their budget phones. It's the phones that go to Metro. Yeah.
But Sneed, you want to know what hurts? You know what's even more funny? Lenovo has a higher market share of phones than the Google Pixel.
Yeah, because they're the Motorola's. They're the budget and the mid-range.
I didn't even realize that, to be honest with you.
Oh yeah, that's very possible. So that doesn't surprise me. But I want to throw this in, Dennis. You tell me what you think. When customers go into stores looking for the budget phone, they want to pay straight up cash, homie. Shouldn't Google have a phone for $299?
They do. It's called the A series.
Yeah, it's pretty close. What are they like? $449 when they launched, $399 when they launched. They got one for $349.
Yeah, like I think the 3A was $350.
Those phones have to go to the metros of the world. They have to go to Cricket. They have to go to Boost. And with subsidy, those phones got to come in priced hot to sell. Those phones would be the best phones in the store, not named iPhone or Galaxy S series, right? I mean, look, Dennis, you could say what you want about the Pixel 6 and the launch and all that. I'm with you. Like, I'm not going to argue with much of that. It's pretty much all accurate. But the A series have been a hit. The value in those phones is incredible. 5-year support. Best cameras in the game when it comes to still photography. Like the still photos on an A series Pixel rivals any flagship. Look, bro, I've been using iPhones for a few generations now. The Google photos are better. The video on the iPhone is better. The photography is better on the Google phone. So like you can argue that there are camera elements that are better on the Google phones than a lot of flagships, and I'm talking Pixel A series, right?
I'm gonna have to disagree. I'm gonna have to disagree with you. I respect your opinion to think the photos that come from the Google Pixel are more appealing to you, but I think it's just preference at that point. Like, I think you just appreciate the color, like, saturation levels on a Pixel versus how iPhone is, because like they're different color saturations, right? But if we're talking about
can we talk professional photography for a second?
yes, that's what I was going to get at here real quick. But if we're talking about objectively, like, which camera is taking the actual better raw image, the unprocessed raw image, the one where you can change it to your preference, it's the iPhone, man. I've blown those things up on desktop-sized monitors, man. It's the iPhone. Actually, to be more specific, Samsung takes the best raw photos, to be even more specific, but iPhone would be
probably
next.
True, because they got the bigger sensors and they could do more. That's true. That's probably true. I was gonna say, I took photos with my S22, my 13 Pro, and my 6 Pro, and I sent photos to my brother-in-law, who's a professional photographer. He, like me, says that the Pixel photos are the best of the three. Now, when you start to, crop them and, you go with raw images onto a different display, going external, like put them up on your desktop and stuff, I can't comment on that. I'm definitely not going to speculate. I'm going to trust you on that, Dennis, if you've done it. You know what I'm saying? But when, like, produced and photos taken on the phones and then displayed or shared or whatever with phones, bro, the Google pictures are phenomenal, man. I have incredible photos that I've taken. I will tell you, though, man, the S22 is no slouch. That is a good camera. I don't much care for the iPhone cameras. Like, the photography is good, but it's not special.
Do you want to know what the
S22
biggest...
is much better than the iPhone, and I think the Google phone's better than the Galaxy.
Do you want to know what the biggest weakness is for the Pixel A series cameras?
I'll tell you what's not the biggest weakness is MS's Super Chat Friday Night GOAT live stream. Thank you for all you do. Thanks, man. Go ahead, Dennis.
It's the lack of raw processing power. Like, I don't... Like, you were commenting about your Pixel 6 Pro that you took your picture on, but if you actually take it on an A series phone, it is slow. I mean, you have to have a steady hand or, like, a tripod for it to, like, not be blurry slow. Like, it is slow.
Dennis, I have a 6A. That doesn't happen on my phone.
I don't know what to say, man. I told you before, like, my dad...
So you're thinking we're getting inconsistent results between devices?
Probably.
Maybe. Wow.
I was just going to tell you, man, like, I did purchase some Pixels. They were for my dad. Like, he had, like, the 3A and the 4A. And now, granted,
so you got him the 3A and then upgraded him to a 4A?
Yep.
Okay.
Now, granted, those are older. I respect their order, and that maybe the 6A could have had, slightly better blah, but from my experience, the A series versus a regular flagship of that time, the camera performance was not nearly identical, and it wasn't because the software, like post-processing, wasn't good. It was just because
hardware,
you had to be more conscientious of your photo take. Like with an iPhone, right? And I know you'll agree with me on this. With an iPhone, I can double click real quick, get the camera app up, take the fastest snapshot, and 7 out of 10 times it's probably going to look good enough, unless we're talking about like low light, right? Like if there's daylight out and I just want to whip out the phone real quick for
it's going to take a great photo. Yeah, I agree.
Can't say that about the A series pixels, man. That takes time.
The 6A is good. I don't really have any issues with the photography. I'm trying to think back to the 3A. I had one. I had a 3A XL. I thought the pictures are pretty good. I had the 4A. Those were good too. So I don't remember those specific issues with those devices. So I want to ask you, what did your dad end up settling with after the 3A and the 4A?
Oh, no. I got him the S22 Plus.
Oh, so then he's not looking back at anything else.
Oh, fuck no. No. He loves that. He did his dad thing where he fights me on it, but he loves it. He loves it. I mean, shucks, he loved his Pixel too, because he was coming from like a ZTE phone when I got him his Pixel.
Oh, dude, you upgraded him, man.
Yeah, but like he's in love, dude. He won't go back to anything else now that he's experienced Samsung. If you told him like, do you want your Pixel back? He'd be like, F no. And he'll hit off all the reasons why. He'll be like, the battery life was shit compared to this. The camera was bad. He'll talk about. Yeah, he'll talk about...
Wait, so your dad actually turned out to be the best example of this title here, Dennis. Right? The Pixel phones are not better than the Galaxies and the iPhones. Therefore, they'll never crack the market share until they make a better phone.
Right. A better
like
phone
generation after generation would have to be
price.
better.
Yeah, and at a fair price.
See, I think the pricing's good. I just think it's hard to tell people who can go into a carrier, we're giving you the same deal. You can have a Pixel 7, you can have an iPhone 14, or you can have a Galaxy S22. All of them are free here at the store with trade-in. So then everybody's going to be thinking, do I want a Galaxy or do I want an iPhone? iPhone people take the iPhone and Android people take the Galaxy, and 1 out of 100 are taking the Pixel. Which is crazy, man, because there's so much to like about the Pixels. They're not perfect, but there's a lot to like, man. I didn't necessarily agree with you about the ecosystem thing, but I do know that when it comes to like phone hardware, I do think that physical hardware, I think the GOAT every year is the S Series Ultra.
Listen, Sneed, I'm going to put it to you this way. For the one thing that most people would appreciate about the Pixel, which is literally in the name, is the camera. There's too many other trade-offs. And even then, the photography on the Pixel isn't leaps and bounds better than the competition. If this was like 5 years ago, we could have a conversation about how the Pixel's camera was like legitimately better than like iPhone or Samsung because of that post-processing.
Facts.
Like I would agree with you on that.
Yeah.
But we're not 5 years ago. We're in the present, and iPhones are... While they might not be the best, the most niche end use cases, they are the most well-rounded camera experience. Like the video is definitely on point. The still shots, in my opinion, are better than current day Pixel. I know we disagree on that, but in my opinion. And then Samsung, no one with a straight face can tell me that the Samsungs don't take great still shot photos.
They take great photos. Yeah.
Video is up there. Like it's not better than iPhone, but it's definitely better than most Android phones.
It's better than the Pixel video.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So the one thing that the Pixel's supposed to be known for, that camera, that's really their main selling point, and it's not really better than the competition. And then everything else is the downgrade. The screen is worse. The storage is worse. And I'm not talking about just like capacity here, Steve. I'm talking about like
I mean you're talking about the writing speed and stuff like that.
Yeah, like the storage is worse. The battery life is noticeably worse. The software support is also suspect for it being a first-party phone from Google. It sometimes is behind on updates for security patches behind the Samsungs. And Samsung didn't even have the best track record for updates. So that's behind.
They stepped up their game, man. Samsung has really stepped up their game with the software updates. I got to call a spade there.
So that's my point. Like, you get the one good thing that most people would appreciate about it, and then everything else is a downgrade.
All right, so those are all good reasons. The software support on the Pixels is still good. I think that there have been more software bugs, which is shocking to me because they are the company. So, like, how the hell you got software bugs, right? Like, what are those developers doing? I just think they're having trouble with the hardware to mesh with the software, like with Tensor and stuff like that. I think there's growing pains there. In terms of, like, software support, yeah, some people got some updates late. So, yeah, that's true. And Samsung's really stepping up their game with updates. They've been, I mean, outside of this month, Galaxy has beat the most OEMs for updates in terms of, like, security patches. And then Google's been weirdly delayed on some models. So, yeah, that those are head scratchers, considering you have control of the hardware and the software.
Can we talk about support for a second as well?
Yeah.
Google's support, for all intents and purposes, and I'm exaggerating here, hyperbole, but for all intents and purposes is non-existent in the US. Like, by that I mean, Apple has literal Apple stores where people go and get stuff fixed, right? Like, that's a thing.
Yeah.
Samsung, while they don't have physical Samsung-owned locations, has a network of people that can repair phones and add support in person.
There you go.
To my and for all intents and purposes, while they're not first party, they might as well be. Pixel does not have that. To my knowledge, and you correct me if I'm wrong, Sneed, if you were to crack a Pixel phone, like you need to repair the screen, you only have two options. You can ship it back and be without a phone, or you can go to a third part, like a truly third party, like not a network, just a third party person that gets some third party screen to replace the Pixel screen. Correct me if I'm wrong.
I know they have the Pixel program for repairs, but that would involve you sending it in. Right?
So that goes back to option one use case. You either send it in and be without a phone.
Yeah.
Or you'd go to a third party like repair shop.
Which I think you break it, I fix it. I think you could take any device there. Not sure exactly, but I think they support Google's phones. So like they have stock in, you know, like the displays, for example, or something. Most often broken thing on a phone. Maybe a charging port.
I think the screen's going to be more common to break, but yeah.
Sure, yeah.
Well, anywho, we definitely beat this topic deeper than I was expecting. Do you want to go into the free-range discussion?
Go ahead, Dennis. Guide us, telco Jesus. Take us to the chosen land.
So this is something that's been going and getting discussed across all of YouTube, and maybe some of you have been impacted by it, but YouTube has started charging a premium for 4K video on the platform.
Oh, damn.
And a lot of people were upset about it, but I don't think a lot of people understand why stuff like this happens. And I thought that would be a great open-ended discussion because that kind of falls in our court.
As creators, yeah.
Well, not just as creators.
And consumers, yeah.
Well, not just that either, but specifically as people that understand like how ISPs work and the challenges that all of the internet industry is facing, which is the bandwidth problem, right? Like Steve, you and I, we've been talking about how exciting it is that 5G is coming about with mid-band and millimeter wave and all this sweet capacity we as end consumers are getting. But we never actually talk about the cost of actually being able to make use of this additional bandwidth that we end consumers get to enjoy, right? Like, I've said this before, but like enterprise fiber prices have not really changed for years. It is very expensive to get anything more than like a gig on the enterprise side. Like 10 gig has just become, like 10 gig backhaul stuff has just become in the realm of possibilities from a cost standpoint.
Mm-hmm.
But like anything past that is like a 4 to 8x cost increase on average to go past like 10 gig. And you can confirm that, right?
It's expensive, man.
And then on top of that, like aside from just paying for the raw bandwidth, there's the computational aspect of it, right? Like you got to maintain servers in different locations and the storage costs. And we already know that like a 4K piece of content, like you yourself know, is going to take up multiple gigabytes more storage than like a 1080p video of the same size, right?
So what, 1080p for a 5-minute video, maybe 800 meg?
Maybe, yeah.
Maybe. That 4K file might be 2 gig.
I was thinking maybe like 5.
Oh, damn. Maybe.
Depends
I guess
on
it
your
depends
compression.
on. Yeah. Go on, Dennis.
But I don't know. I kind of like set the table here, and I figured we could just talk about anything with the networking aspect, right? Like, you know, we focus on the improvements to speed and stuff, but we don't actually take the time to talk about some of the challenges that ISPs are facing. Like,
I think the biggest problem here, Dennis, is mobile ISPs. You know, that because people do consume so much mobile, and more of these phones are starting to get 4K displays, you know, like Galaxy and stuff. Like, those are awesome displays. Some people are really taking advantage of those features, and I respect that. If I had a 4K display, I would want to use that. You know, you wouldn't want to avoid a feature that you paid for. You know, when you bought your phone for $1,000 or more, you know, and it comes with a 4K display, you're going to use the 4K. And you probably picked your carrier based on the ability to stream 4K video.
yeah, but Google's not beholden or benefiting from your carrier plan, right? Like,
Yeah, right.
Like, I'm just gonna you be prosumer Sneed, I'll be
Okay.
capitalist Dennis for the moment. Okay, that way we have balance. Okay, so I'm Google, right? I'm offering this incredible platform that lets you upload your YouTube videos in this awesome live stream, right? And I only have a few ways to make money. I have ads, which, depending on season, may be bountiful or barren, and a good chunk of my users are using ad block, so I'm not making revenue from that. And I have my subscription, my premium service that I started offering. 1080p content and below logically makes sense to store. It's rather tiny. I can compress it. 4K, for all intents and purposes, doubles my cost to provide a 4K piece of content. Now, and it's also niche, realistically speaking. Most people aren't consuming 4K content on YouTube. I could either A, make that a premium feature like a lot of streaming platforms I've seen around me do to help cover the cost of maintaining this. Mm-hmm. Or if I wanted to be a Mr. Bad company because it's my platform, I could just pull 4K altogether. I could just make it go away. All the high quality 4K images, I could just remove them off the platform to free up my storage.
Operational cost to run all that 4K, man, is no joke. But like, they open the door, you know what I'm saying, Dennis? Like, creators have been uploading 4K, and users have been able to consume the content at 4K. Now you're going to be backtracking and taking it away and saying it's something you got to pay for now, I guess. Is it going to be with the premium service?
YouTube
Premium?
It's going to be,
okay.
Yeah, if you have YouTube Red, YouTube Premium, you get 4K. If not, no 4K. You get everything else, 1080p and below.
So that you gave it to them and then you took it away. And do you think, Dennis, there's going to be backlash over this?
Yeah, I've already seen it in the comments. That's why I wanted to have this discussion, because I don't think people... I've seen comments on different videos saying, like, why is YouTube doing this? My coax cable's been in the ground for literally 30 years.
Okay.
What's changed? And I'm just like,
yeah.
That's not the...
So here's what I guess it depends who the person is, and here's what I mean. There have been people for eons. This goes back like 2014, Dennis. I'm talking back like when they first introduced Quad HD displays on phones. Like, I had the Moto X, and it was like a Quad HD display. And like, I would love consuming the 1440p content because it was sharper than the 1080p content. Right? So I was enjoying that, and I was happy with that, and it was like a bragging right in a way, like, oh, I can consume this in this higher resolution, and I loved it. But like, there was a group of people, a loud group of people, that were saying things like, your eyes can't visibly discern 720p and 1080p. And I've looked at the same display on 720p and 1080p. There is 100% a difference in sharpness and resolution. It is noticeable to the human eye, 100%. I'm not any type of bionic being with special vision. I can see the difference between 720p and 1080p. I can also see the sharpness difference and the resolution difference between 1080p and 1440. I think with 4K, this is where we might see a similar thing. The same people who were saying, who cares about anything higher than 1080p? Well, if you were saying that then, you better be saying that now. The mobile consumer, the person who is consuming mobile content on their device, on the go, you actually need the type of plan that allows you to do this. Otherwise, you're using a VPN, right? B, your phone has to be able to do this, right? So it must also be 4K. Is the construct of this argument about mobile experience, or is it about desktop experience, or overall? Because on a mobile device, this is hard to argue. On a desktop, on a TV that's 4K capable, now you're like, well, wait a minute. I used to consume 4K. Now you're going to take it away from me if I don't have premium? Oh, damn.
To be clear here, I enjoy lots of 4K content. And we're touching
Disney
on
Plus is 4K. Netflix has 4K. Like, Dennis, we know the platforms have it.
Yeah, I'm not arguing that 4K content shouldn't be a thing on YouTube. I guess we're talking about two different rabbit holes here. The problem is there are a lot of people who are upset that YouTube is charging for it now. That they want to charge you for 4K, which hot take, first one of the night, I don't actually think YouTube is wrong to charge for it.
Oh, okay.
I don't actually think it's wrong. I think, like, as a person that has a deep understanding of the increased cost to distribute 4K content, it seems
but let's
fine.
frame this let's properly frame this, Dennis. YouTube has no problem giving you 4K content. They just want you to pay for it.
Yes.
Right? They don't want to just include it and be
They don't want to do it for free anymore.
Exactly. Yeah, so it's one of those things. It's like you go to you go to get a burger and you can get the double cheeseburger. The double cheeseburger is a little more expensive because you get an extra patty, right, Dennis?
Right. And I was hoping to touch on the reasons of why, but like the reasons of why this happened, right? And the short answer is, like, in its inception, like I mentioned, 4K was not really used, right? As such, the maintenance cost for actually providing the content was, relatively speaking, low. As usage goes up, cost goes up significantly, and income doesn't proportionately increase for YouTube to maintain this increased demand. The only two ways, like I touched on, are either through ads or their YouTube Premium. So either they put more ads on your videos, which people definitely backlash about, and then you get less watch time. There is a threshold for how many ads people are willing to watch. Or you charge for that really, I call it a niche feature, but it's becoming more mainstream as the cost of 4K TVs has come down.
To the viewer experience, Dennis, how important is YouTube Premium?
I've had it since it was YouTube Red, and I would say it's indispensable because not only do I have no ads, but now I also don't have to worry about the removal of 4K for non-paying customers.
So you love it.
Absolutely. And I get to download content for offline viewing, which is another nice perk.
At what point do mobile providers consider bringing this to their perks and add-ons?
If they did, that would be more massive than the inclusion of something like Netflix or Hulu, in my opinion. Because everybody.
How much is
YouTube.
the Netflix basic?
I think it's like $10 now.
How much is YouTube Premium?
I think it's $12 now. I'm not sure. I'm paying the old legacy rate because I'm grandfathered then. Bippity boppity. If someone knows YouTube Premium's new price, that'd be great. I am trying to Google search it real quick, but because I'm signed in, it's not showing me. Let me go into an incognito tab here. Premium.
I'm looking at it. Can a carrier leverage this instead of Hulu?
Yeah, it's 12.
Instead
It's 12
of
bucks.
Netflix?
It's 12 bucks a month.
You think this calls for a poll, Dennis?
Yeah, why not?
You think this calls for a poll, sir?
Yeah, what's the question for the poll exactly?
All right, the question for the poll is, would you like to see YouTube Premium replace your included streaming service from your carrier? What do you think?
I think so. I think that works.
Okay. All right, let me go ahead and create that poll. Let me build it. and let's continue to kind of like hash this thing out. I think also what we have to consider is, do you think they end up raising the price on the YouTube Premium?
I think that's an inevitability, but not in the near term. So I think that will happen, just not immediately. Probably won't happen until at minimum next year. They're probably going to let the tide subside a little bit. You know, one frustration before, let one frustration die out before they go to the next one.
Okay. All right, there we go. I got it constructed. Let me just, there we go. Okay, so would you want your carrier to replace the included streaming service with YouTube Premium? Yes or no? Is that good enough?
Yes, no. Yeah, it's fine.
Okay.
Yes or no.
All right, folks, the poll is there. Go ahead and get your votes in the live chat. You will see a box as me and Dennis asked the question. Would you want your carrier to replace the included streaming service? If you're a T-Mobile customer, it might be Netflix on us. If you're an AT&T customer, you may have that legacy HBO Max. If you are a Verizon customer, you've got that bundle with Hulu and Disney Plus and ESPN Plus. Would you swap those things out for YouTube Premium? And it's kind of a skewed audience, I suppose, Dennis, because they're obviously on YouTube right now and they probably consume a lot of YouTube, right?
I will say that YouTube is my most consumed method of video consumption. No streaming services even compares, and that includes stuff like Crunchyroll, Sneed, which I love my anime. In fact, on average, I know this is going to sound nutty, but I probably consume something like 20 hours of YouTube a week.
20 hours a week?
Probably.
So you're consuming it 2-3 hours a day?
I'd say so.
What do you typically watch, Dennis? Like short form, long form, mid form, mixed?
Mixed, man. I mean, it really depends. I mean, dude, there'll be times where I'm watching documentaries on YouTube, right, on like niche topics. So that'd be long form. There's other times where I'm watching like cooler placement performance in cases. So front mounted, top mounted, Ryzen 7950X benchmarks, like, technical stuff, right? Podcasts might be a thing, maybe it's your podcast, although I've been on a lot of your podcasts. I haven't been listening, but
So Dennis, like, I think you're like the perfect example of this, and I'm going to explain why. For the person who watches 2 or 3 short YouTube videos a day, they probably don't care to have premium. But for the 10 to 20 videos a day, or the long form content, the podcast that's on YouTube, the live streams that are on YouTube, the documentaries that are on YouTube. You brought that up. That's a great point, Dennis. I think YouTube Premium is a must. You know how many freaking ads pop up in some of these documentaries?
Dude, I got YouTube Premium, like I said, back when it was YouTube Red, and that was before YouTube went on like this super ad spree, because I couldn't tolerate the ads, because it saved me, like, literally the $10 saved me enough time to justify not having to spend like watching ads. And then there was the other perks, like background play on iPhone, right? Being able to close out the YouTube app and do other things on my phone while it's still playing. That's a YouTube Premium perk. Downloading for offline viewings, like when I do my flight to Vegas for CES, being able to watch videos that I download on the plane, YouTube Premium perk. YouTube Premium used to include Google Music, which I actually liked, but then they replaced it with YouTube Music, which I don't like. But for some, that's a perk. And then there's the YouTube, although I don't really watch it all that much, but there's that YouTube like premium content, that exclusive content that YouTube makes.
I'm starting to think to myself, if a carrier all of a sudden added YouTube Premium to every account that had 2 or more lines of the most premium plan, is that worth a switch? Does somebody port over? You know what I'm like? Seriously, like, think about that, right, Dennis? Like, that would be absurd. Big shout out to Santiago, by the way, for the super chat. YouTube Premium also comes with YouTube Music, so the value is there. Good point. Some added value. Gene, thank you for your super chat. Came in earlier. We Must have just missed it or something. Thank you, man. Appreciate all you do in supporting us. I think that mostly catches us up with the super chats. I think we just got another one from Anwar. Yep, he said, I'm going to be real here. I hate ads. I pay for YouTube Premium after I got YouTube Red for the free 3 months, Galaxy S10 Plus, and I have not seen a single ad in years. Ads are so annoying. Dennis, do you agree?
Yeah. They're not just annoying. In the case of YouTube, they're deal breakers because
Dennis, they are disruptive, bro.
I was just about to say, like, if you're watching like a live concert on YouTube, because that's a thing, right? I can think of nothing worse than in the middle of a song just having an ad break come on.
All right, so we got another super chat. This one is from Green. Wait, was it Green? Or is that one from Anwar? Another one from Anwar. Thanks, buddy. Appreciate it. Not worth a switch for me because I pay for YouTube Premium Family $20 for 6 people. That's pretty damn good. 6 people to be ad-free for a whole month. It changes your experience on the service, Dennis. You know what I'm saying? Like, it's a difference maker, man.
Yeah.
That was a good point to bring this up. The 4K content piece kind of took a back seat, but it's going to be rough, man. I think people started getting used to certain things. They got used to 4K. Now you're going to kind of take it away. If you pay for the premium service, so not only do you get the 4K, but also you get to skip ads. You got the YouTube music. Maybe there is some value there, Dennis.
I mean, my whole point here for the case of oh my God, I can't believe I'm saying this, defending Google, is that they're a for-profit company, and if it's not profitable to offer 4K content, right, then the logical decision is to not offer 4K content. So, because that's something they could and probably would do, right? Or they would reduce the bitrate or something on it, right, to compress it further. So I don't think it's necessarily outrageous for them to charge for it, because every other streaming service charges for 4K. In fact, Netflix literally makes you pay their most premium tier to have 4K content on Netflix, you know?
Yeah. Hey, Green, thanks for the super chat, bud. He just got a loyalty discount on Verizon, paying $87 a month with the Get More. Happy with Verizon millimeter wave. I know he's in a millimeter wave market, so he's enjoying C-band, millimeter wave, the whole fixins. Now he's getting a loyalty discount. They're doing that in some markets. Lucky you, Green. You are the man. They ain't giving it to me, dog.
I will happily keep my T-Mobile and AT&T, and then the only Verizon, only love Verizon gets from me comes from the courtesy and generosity of Carlos.
You're not into that, huh, man?
I would not pay my own fun bucks for Verizon Wireless because it's not worth my fun bucks in Pittsburgh.
But the AT&T is worth it.
Oh, every single penny. Every single penny.
Anything else, Dennis, man? I wanted to wrap up the show so we get over to the Technoid show.
Did you just want to close out the poll so we could see the final results?
Let's do it. Poll has officially closed. Thank you guys for voting. Would you want your carrier to replace the included streaming service they have with YouTube Premium? 3 out of 4 people said yes. 52 votes, 75% said yes. Replace the included streaming service with YouTube Premium. You would get the 4K content. You would get an ad-free experience and access to some of those other perks like, the music and such. Take us home, Dennis.
Well, I just want to say thank you for everyone tonight for showing incredible generosity over here on Sneed's channel. The super chats were just incredible. It really goes to show just how awesome the community is and that there really are great people out there. So thank you for that generosity and supporting my man Sneed here. Thank you for everyone else that commented, voted, interacted in the chat. You know this wouldn't be as fun if you guys weren't here. So thank you guys for showing up and contributing to the conversations. And if you guys are bored, I know Technoid's about to be doing a stream here, so definitely recommend checking that out. And also highly encourage, if you're still bored because you love YouTube and you're like me and watch so many hours a week, check out Best Phone Plans. We did a stream yesterday, and it has some of those cool donos that I was talking about, which I think you should check out. And we covered some pretty interesting topics on there with me and Stetson.
Awesome, Dennis. Thank you, man. Hashtag Mod Squad, Baby Yoda, I saw you in there, as well as my other moderators, Lawrence. I know Zero Cool is here. You guys are the best. Thanks for helping out and taking care of those moderating duties. Also, to everybody that super chatted, I know there were several of them. You guys are amazing. Thanks for supporting. Big shout out to the first 15 or so channel members. If you guys want to support us and become channel members, get early access to videos, exclusive videos and live streams, and other perks. There's the join button down here. You guys will find it next to the subscribe button. And I think that's pretty much it. Hashtag 2LiveCrew, hashtag Replay Crew, hashtag Help the Bear, hashtag Save the Bear, hashtag Yogi Bear, hashtag Telco Jesus, hashtag Telco Poppy. That's a pretty good one. Let's break out of this piece, man. Peace.